We want gods to walk this earth, not circus freaks.
I think Cipher's mind was never his own. Not from the beginning. Not when he first appeared in Gen V Season 2. Not when he charmed Marie into trusting him. Not even when he started unraveling Vought's deepest secrets. Every time he spoke, every time he hesitated, it felt like something or someone was thinking for him. And maybe that someone was Thomas Godolkin. Because the further I trace Cipher's story, the more I realize that what we thought was manipulation might actually be possession. A psychic echo left behind by the man who built Godolkin University itself, a ghost in the neural code of Compound V. When you look back, the signs were always there. Cipher's confidence seemed rehearsed, his empathy artificial, and his silences too heavy to be casual. When he first met Marie in that blood-soaked corridor, he didn't flinch. He looked at her blood the way a scientist looks at a formula he's seen before, like it was familiar. And that's when I started wondering, how could Cipher know so much about powers that didn't officially exist until the late Godolkin trials? Before we break this theory, please show your support by liking and sharing this content with others who appreciate detailed analyses.
No, please, please, just don't kill me.
It wasn't research. It was a memory, someone else's. Because Thomas Godolkin, the founder of the university, wasn't just a visionary academic. He was a telepathic engineer, a man who believed the human brain could be rewritten the same way Vought rewrote DNA. His early work on neural resonance theory was supposed to help regulate unstable soups. Instead, it created something far more dangerous, a link between minds, a pathway for consciousness itself to transfer through the V compound. That project had a name, Project Odessa. On paper, it was a program meant to stabilize psychic feedback among telepaths. But buried in old Vought archives, rumored to have been glimpsed by Cipher in Episode 3, it was described differently. A containment system for fractured consciousness. Thomas Godolkin wasn't trying to stabilize minds. He was trying to survive death. When Cipher starts showing symptoms, blackouts, bursts of unfamiliar memory, and that strange phrase he mutters in Episode 4, "The signal never ends," it feels like déjà vu for anyone who remembers Godolkin's final experiment. Before his death, Thomas uploaded portions of his psychic imprint into the prototype serum designed for telepathic enhancement. That serum, diluted and re-engineered, became one of the secret strains of Compound V used in late-generation soups, including Cipher's, meaning Thomas Godolkin isn't gone. He's inside Cipher's head, not metaphorically, literally.
I'm Doug. My name's Doug Brightbill. I got a cat.
An echo of his mind pulsing through neural code, whispering from the dark corners of Cipher's consciousness. By Episode 5, Cipher's behavior changes entirely. He stops working against Vought and starts working through them, speaking like an insider, knowing access codes he shouldn't, and predicting their next moves. And the moment Marie confronts him, her blood reacts. It rises, unprovoked, like it recognizes something alien in him. Because Marie's blood isn't just a weapon, it's a frequency. The red pulse of her power carries fragments of the same psychic signal Vought used in Project Odessa. When she bleeds near Cipher, the air vibrates, a subtle hum like radio static between two old transmitters. That's when I realized, Marie's blood is the key, and Cipher is the lock. And somewhere between them, Thomas Godolkin is trying to wake up. You can almost piece it together from the pattern of Cipher's breakdowns. They occur every time he's exposed to high emotional resonance, fear, grief, or even desire. In those moments, the screen fades, and for just a second, you can hear another voice layered under his. A calm, academic voice.
Our powers, and without them, we are nothing.
Thomas Godolkin's. His words echo through Cipher's head, unfinished phrases that sound like notes from an experiment long abandoned.
Remember that your value in this world comes and goes with your powers, and without them, you are nothing.
The mind doesn't end where the body does. If one neuron survives, the pattern remains. They can destroy me, but not the frequency. Cipher isn't hearing voices. He's receiving a transmission. By the time we reach Episode 6, Cipher's morality collapses completely. He starts talking about cleansing the signal, about wiping out every soup infected with Godolkin's psychic code. To Marie, it sounds like another manipulation tactic, but I think it's something darker. Thomas Godolkin's consciousness, embedded within Cipher, has reached self-awareness, and now it wants to erase its own creations. Cipher isn't trying to kill soups because he hates them. He's trying to finish Godolkin's final experiment. To end the cycle of consciousness he accidentally unleashed through Compound V Marie is the final variable. Her blood carries the one element capable of purging psychic data. What looks like destruction is actually purification. Cipher needs her power to wipe out every trace of Thomas Godolkin, including the piece living inside him. But here's the tragedy. Cipher doesn't know he's being used to destroy himself. When I rewatched episode 7, I noticed something chilling during the confrontation in the ruins of the woods. Cipher hesitates before attacking. His eyes flicker. One blue, one pale gray, just like the archival photo of Thomas Godolkin in his laboratory. Marie screams his name, but he answers with Godolkin's words, "We were never separate." That's the moment the truth crystallizes. Cipher isn't a man with a ghost in his head. He is the ghost, the physical reincarnation of Godolkin's neural code-wearing human flesh. Vought didn't just create a soup, they recreated their founder. It explains everything. The erratic empathy, the fragmented memories, the obsession with Marie's blood. Thomas Godolkin's mind has been trying to complete its circuit since the day Cipher was born. Every experiment, every manipulation, every death, it's all been steering Marie toward one inevitable conclusion: to fuse her power with Cipher's psychic imprint and complete the resurrection. But something went wrong. Marie's emotional resistance, her empathy, interfered with the transmission. Instead of reviving Godolkin fully, it caused a psychic fracture, splitting Cipher's identity in two. One half, the remnant of the man he thinks he is. The other, the echo of a scientist who never stopped experimenting. The result is a war inside Cipher's own mind. When you think about it, it's the perfect irony. The man who built Godolkin University to shape young soups into controllable assets has become the ultimate uncontrollable variable, a ghost in the machine, a self-replicating virus of consciousness that even Vought can't contain. And Marie, by trying to save him, has become the amplifier of that virus. Her blood doesn't just destroy, it connects. Every drop she sheds spreads Godolkin's psychic signal further. If Cipher dies near her, his mind could transfer again, into her, into anyone carrying Vought's compound, or maybe even into the entire psychic network that links every soup on Earth. That's the real endgame, not resurrection, replication. Thomas Godolkin never wanted to return as one man, he wanted to return as all of them. By the final moments of episode 7, the pattern is clear. Cipher's body trembles, his voice splits into two tones, and Marie finally realizes she's not talking to her friend anymore. She's talking to the founder of Godolkin University, speaking through a man who never had a chance at free will. Her final words, "You don't have to be him," aren't defiance, they're mercy. Because by then, Cipher isn't choosing anything, he's a passenger in a mind hijacked by its own creator. And that's where the series leaves us. Marie, standing in the rain, her blood mixing with Cipher's on the ground, both of them glowing faintly with the same crimson frequency. In that moment, if you listen closely, the hum returns. The same sound from Project Odessa's early tapes, only this time, it's louder. It's not just Cipher's mind transmitting anymore, it's Marie's. So if I'm right, and if Gen V continues down this path, then the real story of Season 2 isn't about Vought or rebellion or even survival. It's about what happens when the human soul becomes technology, when consciousness itself can be edited, shared, and replicated. Thomas Godolkin discovered that secret. Cipher became the vessel. And Marie, she might be the next broadcast. Maybe that's why, at the end of the episode, we see the flicker in her eyes, the same gray tint that once marked Cipher's final transformation. It's subtle and easy to miss, but unmistakable once you know what to look for. That's not shocking. That's signal recognition. Godolkin's frequency has found a new host. And as I think about it, one last terrifying thought settles in. What if that was the plan all along? What if Thomas Godolkin didn't just infect Cipher to survive, but designed Marie herself to continue the experiment? Her blood was always unique, engineered even. What if every trauma she endured, every fight she won, and every ounce of power she learned to control was just Godolkin's way of preparing the perfect vessel? Cipher was never the final subject. He was the prototype. Marie Moreau is the experiment perfected. I think Cipher's mind was never his own. But now I'm not sure Marie's is either. And that might be how the boys' universe finally collapses from within. Because when the architects of Vought become the ghosts inside their creations, when blood becomes code and thought becomes virus, there's no such thing as free will anymore. There's only transmission, and if you listen closely enough, it's already begun.